Good afternoon. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. How's everyone doing? I should have parked different because this sun is right in my eye. I need my glasses. I need my glasses. Listen, I'm going to be diligent with these messages. I'm going to be diligent with my messages. You hear me? See if I can clean my glasses. How is everyone doing this afternoon? Come on in. Come on in. Hold on one second. Hold on. This is real life. I don't have time to be trying to edit, make it seem like I'm just doing stuff bigger than what I'm doing. I don't have time for that. I believe in authentic messages, and hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. How are you all doing? I'm here. I'm just cleaning my glasses because the sun is right in my eye where I'm parked. It's right in my eye. How is everyone doing? Come on in. Come on in. And then I can't really see with that because they're still blurry, but I'm going to try to battle the sun. I can't really see with that. The glass, I thought I cleaned them. They still have some. But how's everyone doing? Come on in. Hey, Lisa. Thank you. Listen, I just randomly go live. I don't have no time. Whenever I get a message, I have to say and go on about my business. I'm just so random. I'm so unpredictable, you know? It's good to be like that. Be unpredictable because people try to study you and they try to watch your patterns and they try to study your behavior to see how you react and see how they could, evil people sit and monitor you and study you to see what type of buttons they could push and to see different things about you that they can use against you, right? So I'm very unpredictable. When people think I'm going left, I've been on went up. To about left, I'll go up. I don't like to be, I don't like to be predictable. I'm not born to be predictable anyways. I'm not a conformist. I don't conform. And that's part of my message. That's part of my message. And it goes right along with it. Because, sometimes I start my messages and I go to talking and be all around. But you know what? It correlates, right? You can bring it right back to what I'm posting about. And my message is when people can't control you, when they no longer can control you, they try to control the people around you. When they can no longer control you, right? They try to control how other people see you. They try to control how people view you, right? Because, you got a lot of people who are weak or who are not learned, who are unlearned, and they don't understand spiritual things, right? The chosen ones, we're very spiritual. We can see things actually happening while it's happening. A lot of us were in denial of the gift, right? We were in denial of the gift that God gave us. But now that you are aware, or you should be aware of your gift, you have to trust yourself. You have to trust what you believe and trust what you see. You have to trust that. I used to be in denial of certain things because the person was family. Because the person was family. Because the person was my child. The person was my sibling. The person was my aunt. The person was, somebody related. I used to be in denial of certain things. And then when God revealed to me the gifting that I have, I had to start believing this stuff, regardless of, because see, the thing with me, I never wanted to lose people. I never wanted to lose people. My whole thing was, I grew up in a big family, so I never, hello from Nigeria. That's part of my family. I got ancestry back there in Nigeria. Hey, from Nigeria. What I was getting ready to say, that kind of threw me off the loop to see some of my ancestry flags right here. um it can, Lisa, when you don't understand. Yes, the gifts can be overwhelming. You're talking to someone who was overwhelmed for a long time because I didn't understand. I had to get along with God so he can show me and reveal to me and see stuff like the things that I had to learn. I didn't learn in church. I learned spending time with God and reading his word, and he gave me revelation. He gave me revelation of a lot of things. And I had to believe what I saw. That's why you got a lot of people who are gifted spiritually. That's why they're in them crazy houses, what they call crazy houses. That's why they're in there, because they don't understand there's a spiritual aspect to what they're going through, what they're dealing with. Because we've been taught in school all of our lives natural things. They don't teach us nothing about spiritual. They don't teach us nothing spiritual in school. They teach us if we can see it, that means it's real. If it can't be touched and felt, that means that, it's not real, rather. Right? We've been taught you got to see it. You got to be able to view it and assess it and all this craziness. No, there's a spiritual part to life. There's a spiritual part to life. Whether we want to believe it or whether we don't want to believe. I'm not here to convince nobody. That's not my job. I'm not here to convince nobody. My job is to show you, tell you, right? That's my job, to tell you my experience and to give you some insight, and you can choose and do whatever you want to do with that. I'm not here to convince folks. I have my conviction. I know what I believe and I know what I stand on. I know what's real and I know what's spiritual. But that's the thing. When people can no longer control you, they try to control those around you. They get in the heads of people around you. And see, these people are unlearned. They're so unlearned, and some of them are weak, right? People like to take advantage of people who don't know better. They like to take advantage of folks who are young. That's why predators like to take advantage of children, because these children don't understand, right? They don't understand in their little mind. They can't comprehend, the things that people are doing to them, right? Just innocent, unless you're exposed to something. I remember, one time, when my children, they were innocent. This is how innocent children are. I understood what the lizards were doing, because, it was like two lizards. They were mating. They were mating. And I never forget, my daughters saw the lizards and like, oh, mommy, the lizards are fighting. Because she was a child. She was a little baby. She didn't understand that those lizards were mating, because in her mind, she don't know that information at that young age. Children shouldn't know. Children shouldn't know. Hold on. Children shouldn't know what that is anyways, right? They're being exposed if they know what lizards are doing. If you know that's mating or stuff, mating or something. But my point is, that's why predators attack children. Predators attack children because the children are unlearned. They don't have enough experience in life. They don't have enough experience in life. That's why when somebody is preying on a child, you can tell them, predators tell them, listening to people's stories, how predators tell them, if you say something, I'm going to do this and that to your family. Them children believe that because they don't know no other thing. They don't know nothing else. Right? They don't know anything else unless somebody telling them that, I don't care what anyone says. If somebody do something to you, you tell me, unless you have parents like that. But most of the time, them kids, they are afraid. They're children. And that's what happens with predators and people who have this controlling spirit. When these people who control you, when they can no longer control you and you push back on them. Because see, people, for some reason, I don't know why people are like this in the world. If they're not controlling other people, they're not happy. They're not satisfied. If they're not controlling people's perspective, if they're not controlling their emotions, because you got some people, they get a kick out of controlling your emotions. They get a kick out of, creating chaos wherever they go. Wherever they go, and they leave the area or atmosphere, their energy leaves chaotic, leaves chaos. Have you ever had people like that? Walk into the room so bright, you're talking and bubbly, and this dark energy walks in and just zap the life out of everybody. This stuff is real. You have to build yourself up to fight in these dark times, to fight these evil spirits, to fight these dark spirits that are coming in and out of people. Coming in and out of children. It's getting more into children now than anything. Getting more into people, just people, period. You got to be walking in discernment regardless of what people are saying. Let people get mad at you because, see, naturally, people think naturally you're supposed to be in not good graces, that you're supposed to be around certain people because they're blood. Naturally, that's what we're supposed to do. But you see what's going on in the world? You see what's going on in the world with people that are blood kin to you? I saw on the news this kid unalive 7 people in his whole family. This man killed, unalive, I want to say killed, unalive or deleted, if you get me, 7 family members. 7 of them. And I just saw the headlines, And you tell me you want to walk around here and not be walking in discernment? Walking in discernment, people are projecting their will and their evil onto others. Right? People are projecting their cancerous, hateful spirit into people to attack you. People are dropping little seeds of discord in those that are around you. And you wonder why people act funny one day and the next day they acting okay. You got to pay attention to this stuff. You got to pay attention. Because this stuff is real. But my message is, when they can't control you, they try to control those around you. This is why prayer is important. This is why prayer is important. It is important because you need to be alert, not living in paranoia, not living in fear, but just walking in discernment. Walking in discernment. Walking in discernment. That's what I want to come talk to you all about. Give you this quick message. Because people are really going through some things. And they hate to see anybody who is happy and moving forward in their lives. If you got a smile on your face during these times, people think you're crazy. People are looking at you strange because you're happy. You're working on yourself. You're doing the things that make you happy. You're creating a space for you. You're being yourself. And that's another thing. People don't want you to be yourself. People don't want you to be authentic. I remember there was this evil, wicked person that I was younger. I was a little younger. And this person was so evil. She got upset because I was laughing with someone. Just genuinely laughing about something that was being, a situation that was going on. And I like to laugh. I'm a jokester. I love to laugh. That's part of my personality. And I just say things that sometimes be just off the wall and unnecessary. That's just part of my personality, right? I also got a serious side to me. That's just how we are. And that's another thing. Once you embrace who you are, you got to embrace every part of you, every facet of you, right? Every different variation of you. You have to embrace that. Because people will get mad when they don't have the joy that you have. They're not authentic and just to be themselves. You're not trying to be anyone else. You're not trying to be anyone else. And people sometimes they don't want you to be who you are. They don't want you to be who you are. They want you to be somebody for them. They want you to change for them to be who they want you to be. And before I knew who I was, I did that. I tried to change who I was just to please people, make them happy, do everything to make them happy. I'm losing my identity and my authenticity, losing myself to make them happy and people around them and their people and their family and all of this. I did that. Forsaking myself to please somebody else who didn't know who they were. They need to work on themselves and their healing. Changing my personality. I'm out here bubbly and fun and outgoing. And I had became an entire hermit, just miserable because of the miserable negative energy that was just sucking the life out of me. Because, people have that effect on you. People have that effect. I went back and looked at some of my old pictures from when I first started out young and bubbly, too, before I had kids, or my earlier years, with the children. I started out all young and bubbly, upbeat, positive, ready to just whatever life got coming for me. I'm just ready to fight it, take on. And at that time, too, I was going to school. I was in college, too, and working at the time. And I was just so vibrant and positive. And I went to looking at how the years were evolving and how I just started looking different. Because, when you're miserable and that negative energy around you draining you, you attached to somebody who just negative and they siphoning your good energy and they're giving you that little toxic energy they got, you start looking different. And I was looking different. I had gained weight and everything. And I wasn't as outgoing and positive as I was. I just started feeling down and just things just had changed, Things just was changing because the people who I was attached to, the negative energy who I was attached to, always trying to please those around me, couldn't be myself, couldn't be who I was. When certain people come around, you got these energies that hate you and then they still want to be in your presence. What type of foolishness and miserable negativity, that's a demon. You want to siphon someone else's energy. You come around and it's just a dark cloud, just drain you, suck all your good energy out of you. You outgoing and positive and bubbly. You want to have a good time. You're a people's person. And when they come around, it's like that energy just fall on you. That's why it's important to pay attention to who you're connected to. It is important to pay attention who you're connected to and start paying attention to yourself, how you're behaving, how you're thinking. Because see, when you're around this type of energy, they don't suck you in the beginning. They don't suck and drain you in the beginning. It's an overtime drain. They work on you piece by piece. They try to kill your self-esteem. Every good thing about you, they try to work on that and kill it, unalive it, siphon it out of you. Siphon it out of you. All while they're all around you creating false narratives. Wanting people to see you in a different light. Yes, they do. They do this over time. because you're so caught up in the situation. And see, these people here, let me tell you about these people. The reason you don't know that the people who I'm talking about, the reason you don't know that these people who I'm talking about are creating the chaos in your life, because you sleep with them every night. You sleep in the bed with them. You're married to these people. These people are your boyfriend, girlfriend, your child. They're in your face telling you they love you and they doing things for you. You thinking you're in a partnership. You're thinking you're on a team with the person. And you think you're building, and all behind your back, they're tearing you down. They're tearing down your character. They're lying on you, slandering you. But every day these people come in your life and say they love you, paying bills with you, buying things with you, creating with you. And you're so confused. You're confused. You don't believe that a person could sit under you and hate you at the same time. You don't believe that a person could say they love you, marry you, but with the same breath, they slandering you, talking to their dad about you, talking to their mama about you, talking to their siblings, making it seem like you're just this evil person. And you're not comprehending. You're not comprehending because the person is doing one thing in your face, but behind your back, they snatching it and tearing you down. And you wondering why you have all these weird energies. You're wondering why you have nightmares. You're wondering why, your spirit is off balance. You're wondering why the intimacy is off balance. There is no connection spiritually because the person is slandering and beating you down with their mouth. They're beating you down behind your back. They're beating you down behind your back. That's why. This thing is spiritual. Because they're operating in demonic energy because they already know that the relationship is not going to last. They already know it's not going to last because guess what? They are not genuine. They are not real. They're not dealing with their demons. They're not dealing with their perverted demons. All of the perversion and abuse that they have experienced, that they're trying to suppress. They're not dealing with that. But instead, they want to project all that onto you, tear you down, beat you down. Because they're not dealing with their demons. They're not dealing with their stuff. And they want to project all of that on you. They want to project all of that on you. You're responsible. That's why this is the responsibility channel. You're responsible. And the reason so many people get stuck because of the deception. There was a lot of deception going on. A lot of deception that is taking place right now. That's why so many relationships are being uprooted. So many marriages uprooted because of the deception. 10, 20, 30 years, 20 years. Deception is being revealed. That is what's taking place. Think it not strange. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's the truth. But you have to do the work on you so you can be able to withstand these times. You got to be so detached from people. You got to live a life of detachment. And I mean, when you see people move in a certain way, you got to be able to cut them off. You got to be able to cut them off. because those are the people who the enemy are going to use. Those are the people the enemy is using. The enemy is using the deceptive, the wicked-hearted, the jealous, the envious, the unforgiving. He can easily bounce in and out of these people because there's room. There is a cause. There is a cause to do it. These people who are deceptive, hiding things from you, hiding things that you should know, that you should know about. These are the people that the enemy is going to use. These are the people. And you got to be willing to let people go. You got to be willing, because it's these same people who you are afraid to let go. These are the same people that's going to do something to you all if you don't see it. These are the same people. Now, if they're children, you got to deal with it. You're going to have to get them some type of help. Pray, deliverance, something. You have to do your part on that. But when they become of age and they're responsible and they go to acting and moving a certain way, you got to let them go, whether they're your children or not. Whether they are your children or not, you have to let them go if they moving in this deceptive, manipulative, and demonic energy, demonic behavior. If they're being deceptive, if they're being manipulative, you got to let them go until they get themselves together. Until they get themselves together. Everybody have their life, their own life to live. Everybody have their life to live, and you got to let people live their life. You have to let people be free to live how they want to live how they choose to. But when folks can control you, they'll try to control the people around you, control how people see you. This is why prayer is important. You can pray against this stuff. You can pray that God remove not just the people, but the discord that the enemy is trying to create. You have to sit and accept it. No, you don't have to accept it. But you can pray against it. You can pray against it. Because the enemy loves discord. The enemy loves when families are not united. And you can't be the only one fighting by yourself. You can't be the only one fighting. The enemy loves to create discord. The enemy loves to turn children against the siblings against siblings. The enemy loves to turn the husband against the wife. The enemy loves to use these wicked mother-in-laws to create havoc in the families. Wicked daughter-in-laws. Wicked in-laws, period. The enemy loves that. Loves creating chaos. Love using wicked father-in-laws and wicked dads, wicked moms to create havoc. And when you know these people are wicked, when they're not trying to create unity. Wickedness, wickedness comes with disunity. When they're always trying to create a divide. They always want to divide and conquer. Put this one against that one. Have a golden child, golden grandchild. These are wicked folks, wicked spirits. They love creating misery. Love it. They don't want nobody to be happy but them. And you find people rejoicing when you're going through things, rejoicing when your children are going through things. Wicked. Wicked folks. They're unhealthy. You don't want to be around these type of people. They get a kick out of things because we all going to experience life. The Bible says it rains on the just and unjust. We're going to experience life. But when you have those people that sit back, especially during death, when you lose a loved one and they can sit back and be wicked and smirk and pretend that they're trying to cheer you up and at that time, wicked hearts. Wicked hearts. Had somebody to do me like that. And I just saw the spirit of wickedness. They were not trying to cheer me up. That wasn't a time to cheer me up. That was a time for me to be grieving. And the person was so happy because I was grieving. And it was then and there I knew I had to disconnect from this person. Because of the hearts. Just wicked. There was no reason. No reason for you to try to. There's a time and season for things. And this had just happened too. And they're sitting there happy-go-lucky. Like they, that person was just happy because I was grieving. Happy because I was grieving. Not trying to cheer me on. That was a lie from the pit of hell. Because I was grieving on several levels, several things. During this time, I was grieving several things. And this person had the nerve to sit there and have this evil smirk on their face. As if they're trying to cheer me up, knowing darn well they were not trying to cheer me on. But I prayed for that miserable soul. Very deceptive. I prayed for that miserable soul. I couldn't do anything because I was grieving. I couldn't call that spirit out because I was so in grief at the time. I was grieving the death, and I was grieving what was not dealt with. What was not dealt with during, before the death. Yeah. But that's how wicked people are. And you got to be ready to walk away from these deceptive spirits, deceptive, wicked spirits that hate the light in you. These people want to put out your light, and you better catch that spiritually. They want to put out your light. They want that light to not shine. And the only way your light will not shine is if you're no longer on earth. Or you just have been so beat down on the inside that your spirit is not, alive. That you just in this depressive state. But I know one thing and two things for sure. A person would leave the face of this earth before I let the enemy cause me to dim my light. Before I stop fighting. Before I give up. Before I stop speaking positive and being positive and looking on the brighter side of things. They'll leave before I stop that. because I'm a fight. I'm a fight to the end. I'm going to speak life. I'm going to speak what the word says over my life. Regardless of who is coming up against me, regardless of who turned their back on me, I'm going to keep fighting. And that's what y'all have to do, because people want you to stop fighting. People want you to give up, because see what people do, they'll try to turn people against you. They'll try to turn people you love against you so you can give up and stop fighting. I already made my stance. I don't care who turn their backs on me. I'm going to still fight. I don't care who come up against me. I'm going to still fight. I'm going to still be happy. I'm going to still do what I'm called to do in this world. Because God already warned us. When you stand for righteousness, people going to turn against you. They going to come up against you. They going to turn their backs on you. Lie on you. Take from you. Slander you. That's part of it. It's either you're going to be afraid or you're going to fight. Either you're going to be afraid or you're going to keep fighting. And I made up my mind. I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep fighting. I don't care how many days I have that I don't feel like fighting. I'm going to get up and I'm going to fight. That's what the enemy don't like. That's what the devil don't like. That's what people don't like. People don't like that you got that fighting spirit. And they've done everything to silence you. They've done everything to shut you up. And you're like Rocky. You keep coming back. You get knocked down, you keep coming back. You bloody, you all messed up. You got black eyes and big lips and you still fighting. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'm letting the devil know. I'm serving him a notice. I'm a fight. I'm going to fight. That's why the enemy likes to try to bring shame on you all. He likes to bring shame. Some of y'all done been homeless. Some of y'all done been homeless. He want to bring shame on y'all. Because he don't want you to have your head up. He don't want you to keep your head up, keep good spirit. He don't want you to still trust God. He wants you to curse God by taking things and people from you. He wants to see if you still gonna fight. He wants to see if you still gonna fight. Taking everything from you, take your children away from you. They don't turn their backs on you. They gone somewhere. Took that job away from you that you depended on, but he still provides from you. Took the husband away from you that you thought you needed. Took that old wife away from you that you thought you needed. And this could be a taken away that they're no longer here on earth, or a taken away that they walked away or removed. Because our full dependence should be on God, not our spouses, not our family. I'm kind of glad I was raised and I didn't have people to fall back on financially, because it taught me something that you only could learn when you don't have the thing that you think you need. You only learn, right, from not having the things you think you need. I want to say I was the age of 20. I say 20. How old was I with my daughter? I think I was 23. I want to say I was 23 when I lost all of my grandparents. No. Yeah, 23. Yes, my grandmothers, I lost them when I was 23. So I really didn't have my dad and my my dad and my grandfather passed when I was, I want to say 20, around that time, somewhere in that time. But by the time I was 23, I had lost a significant amount of my, my parents and grandparents who was able, because I lost my mom a couple years, later. But the people who I was able to depend on, I had lost them by the time I was, at 23. So I had to put myself in a position to take care of myself. And the only way I knew how to do that is that's why I went to college. That's not the only way, but that was my reasoning. Like, I was like, I have to go to school because that's what they said we had to do. Right? And I had to do something, although I was working, but I had to do something more to be able to take care of myself. Because unfortunately, in this world, if you don't have a degree to work on these people's job, and some jobs, they don't, you're not qualified. So in my head, I was like, you know what, at least I have to go to school to be able to take care of myself, because I don't have my parents and grandparents here to help me. I don't have people I can fall back on. That'll be there for me. And I'm glad, because it taught me how to be resilient. It taught me how to be resourceful. I'm happy for that. Not to lean on anybody. Trust God that God will, provide for me. That He will provide for me. So I had to learn. I had to learn how to be resourceful. Even during, when I was married. Even married, I was still struggling. So, you can't depend on that solely. So that's not the end all be all. You got to depend on God. You got to put your trust in God. That's where your dependence come from. Because, people say, well, you got, a second income. No, when your trust is not, when your trust is not in God, it doesn't matter. Your trust has to be in God first. Your dependence has to be on God and God to be able to survive and make it. I'm going to just say that. Both of y'all have to be depending on God, not on y'all, not in y'all, on yourselves, in yourselves and your own ability. That's where the struggle comes from. When your dependence is not in God and you think you can do it on in your own strength, or because you got two incomes. Because He got to teach you how to manage. Because you got people with one income doing better than people with two incomes. And I couldn't understand that. It's all about money management. God teaching you to be a good steward over what you have. Being wise with your money. Living below your means. Having someone on the same page as you financially. Who's thinking like you, on the same page. Y'all going in the same direction. Not a person want to go this way. You want to go that way. You got to be on one accord. You got to be on one accord. This is where your dependence should come from. It should be God, then your spouse. Which means you trusting and believing. And that comes from a personal relationship. I could never, and this when you don't have financial literacy, you don't understand things like this. I remember it was years ago. I never forget. I saw this article of this guy. I think it was about in 2008, and this baffled me. I didn't understand. Back in 2008, I read this article. It was a guy. He was local in my area where I lived, and he was talking about how he was struggling to make ends meet. And you won't believe how much this man was making in the article. It was a male. You won't believe how much he was making. I couldn't even wrap my head around how you struggling with this type of money. This is when I know people live for others and not for themselves. He was making $200,000 a year. And he's been making that for a while, according to the article. And I'm like, $200,000 a year. And I was barely making 35,000 at that time. And I'm sitting there like, if I had that type of money, what I do, I'm like, that's good money. I'm like, he could do so much. He could have a paid off. I'm like, I was just naming the things. He could get him a paid off car, get him a Corolla or a Honda, something like that. Still have a lot left. I'm like, what is he doing? Come to find out, he was way above his means. He was renting, or was that, did he finance? He was financing the house, but his mortgage was $5,000 a month. Okay, that's already over. I'm not a math genius, but I'm like, he's already over at that time $5,000. He had this exotic car that he didn't pay for cash. He was financing it. That was like $800, $900 a month plus the insurance. And I'm like, that's crazy. In my little head, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. But when you overextend yourself, that's what happens. That's what happens. And I had to learn. It took me, and see, a lot of us, if you come from a family of African descent, and not just the family of well, yeah, I say that because most of us do, whether you light skin or dark skin. If you got African descent in you, and I'm gonna say this: if you got African descent, if you got African ancestry, a lot of us, exactly, Tez, a lot of us are struggling with the spirit of poverty because of our ancestors. Right? We're struggling with that spirit of poverty because of our ancestors. So that's something we got to break off of us on a spiritual level. That's something we have to repent for and come out of agreement with whatever our ancestors did. Because we're struggling with the spirit of poverty. That's why you can't get ahead. You wondering why you work so hard, you don't got nothing to show for it. You don't work 20, 30 years, you have nothing to show for it. Because it's a generational thing, it's a bloodline thing. That's something that has to be broke off your family. I don't know if you noticed that or not. I'm just learning about it a few years ago. Okay? I'm just learning and wondering why, right? That things always got to be, so hard.